creating more advanced animations in Flash can involve setting up animations within animations. So I've got my stage here. I've got a couple of little clouds that are going to go across the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to animate a car going over the top of this hill. And in the car, I'm going to set the wheels so that they spin. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create the wheels. And to do that, we go insert a new symbol. And this will come up with our new symbol. Make sure that the type is set to movie clip. And name the symbol. So I'm going to name it car wheels animated, so that I know exactly what it is. Another thing you might notice is that I have now started naming the layers, where we're starting to get more intricate in the detail. Click OK to that, and that will give you this screen. Don't worry that your background has disappeared. This is because we're in this symbol here for the car wheels. So car wheels are usually circular in shape and have a black tyre on the outside. So let's start off with a black circle. There we go. If you press the shift key, it will actually then make it a circle shape as opposed to some other kind of shape while you're working. So we've got that set up. Now we usually have a silver rim. So to do this, I'm going to do the stroke color to silver. I am going to change my fill color so that it's not actually there. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to firstly see if this will stop crashing on me. And no, hang on, we're thinking about it. I'm going to see if I can undock this sidebar, because the bit that we can't see at the moment is the bits down the bottom here. What I might also do is just go into the... Okay. What you could do if you had this problem at home is you could right click on your taskbar at the bottom and auto hide the taskbar to give you more screen space. Unfortunately, due to the restrictions in effect on this computer, I'm not able to demonstrate that at this time. So let's see if we can undock this taskbar. Alright, so we've got an undocked taskbar. So it's not on there, so we need to go into our properties. Let's make this a bit bigger. Alright, you've got in the properties for the oval tools, if you're working with the paintbrush tool, your brush size is here. If you're working with the circle tool, you need to be in the properties to control it. So I'm going to make this fairly large, about 5 pixels. This might be too big, we'll see. So create your circle, drag it out, get your arrow tool. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to put this on a new layer to make it a bit easier. We might have to do something slightly different to move it, where we've just got the stroke on there. If you could get it to set up straight away like this one just has, then that's even better. So there's the steel bit on our tyre. I'm going to get to the line tool now and just bring the properties up. Check that the stroke is set to 5.5. On our line tool, I'm just going to find the centre of my tyre and I'm going to draw some spokes out for it. Admittedly, probably not the best tyre in the world ever, but what the heck, it'll do the job. It'll spin and we'll be able to see it spinning from the spokes. There we go, a tyre. I'm just going to redock this over here now. I'll just make that. Okay, come back to that. My tools are now hidden under here because I undocked them and redocked them. Come back to that later. So, we've got our tyre. Now, we need to be on our arrow tool, select both our layers, right click on it and convert that to a symbol. So, wheel image. And this will be what you would come back to. Click OK, that gives us a symbol. And what you'll find is now it will be all on one layer, so we can go ahead and get rid of the extra layer. That's fine, that's all we need. Now, because car wheels rotate quite quickly, we're not going to want this to be a particularly long animation. So I'm going to right click on here and insert my frame at 20 frames. As it goes at 24 frames per second, this is going to be less than a second's rotation. On your toolbar, get your free transform tool, just like that. And we want it to go back to the start position, so we can leave that there. At 5 seconds time, we want our rotation to go to about a third of the way round. So, trick with this is going to be actually remembering what corner it is you're moving. No. But before you do that, let's just set that back. Set that back. Before you do that, right click on there and create a motion tween. Otherwise, it won't actually do what you want it to do. Now go to your 5 second marker, click on that corner and drag it round by about a third. 10 second marker, click your corner, oops, get your rotation bit up and drag it round. 15 seconds marker, drag it round again. And then what you should find is if you skip to the end and you play it through, and your computer's not as laggy as this one, it will animate in a circle and spin. What you might need to do is on your final frame, just make sure it goes back to the start position, which is there-ish. And that will do it then all the way around. And that will then loop. So that is our animated car wheel. So let's go back to scene 1. Now I've already got the car layer set up, but we need to create another symbol before we can do our car. So if we go to insert a new symbol with movie clip selected and click OK, in here we'll construct our car. So I'm going to do this. It's going to be a very strange looking car. And we'll do it with the rectangle tool just to make life easier. Now, don't forget if you've got a stroke set to actually take the stroke off. Otherwise you'll end up with a stroke colour. Now, I want this to look a bit Land Rover-y, so Land Rover-y is coming anywhere between black, green and brown usually, depending on where they've been off-roading. So we'll start with that. We've got our transform tool, transform properties. So we could potentially go in here and skew it, but we're not actually going to do that for the sake of being quick. You can collapse each of these toolbars if they come out as well. So let's just add in our box on the top here. So it's got a bonnet. Well, Land Rovers don't have much of a boot, if they have a boot at all. Spending a bit of time getting this to line up might help. In terms of actually line up, as you can see, it can be a bit irritating. Let's go from this bottom corner and we'll take it to there. There we go, Land Rover shape-ish. Now, this is where it gets a bit more interesting, because now into our symbol here, we need to put our car wheels animated. So let's drag these onto here twice. What you'll notice is that our proportions are slightly off. So I'm going to get my shape tool, I'm going to select that, go to the transform, and I think I'm going to resize this up rather than resize the wheels down. And then we can position our wheels where we want them to be on our Land Rover. I don't know, about there maybe, close enough. And let's give this thing a window. So let's get our rectangle tool again. And we'll just draw a rectangle here. Okay, maybe we'll not. Let's change our colour. Let's change our colour to white. White screen, why not? There's our windscreen. Obviously, the more time you spend doing this, the better your animation will look. And let's just go to our selection here. What we could do is delete that, and that should then show the background through it, looking more like a window. I was very naughty when I created this symbol. I didn't name it, so let's double click here so we can name it. We'll name this car. Now, that's all we actually need to do with the car. So we can now go back to scene 1, open our symbols library, and drag our car onto our stage. Now, our car's slightly bigger than I want it to be, so I'm just going to shrink this down a bit. Press the shift key to constrain the proportions. And at some point it will actually shrink. There we go. Right. Let's start with the car over here. We're going to want to rotate it so it matches the hill. So we've got a couple of bits that we need to worry about here. Right click on your timeline, put a motion tween in, go to your last frame, move your car to where you want it to go, rotate your car so that it's going pointing in the right direction, then go to your arrow tool, grab your line and just drag it up into a curve to match the hill. So let's just see what this does and see if we need to make any other alterations to it before we play it properly. Because what you'll notice, okay, so we may need to change the rotation slightly as we go around, or alter the rotation at the end here. So let's go back into here. But what you'll notice while that was going round is that our wheels weren't actually spinning. Let's just move that slightly down to there. Let's try that again. Now the reason wheels weren't spinning is to try and save memory. Flash is very intensive of the memory. So let's see if we end up flying this time. Oh good, we stopped flying. Flash is very memory intensive. I'm just going to move this down a little bit more. So in order to save it, where we've animated these wheels, it doesn't actually show on our scene that we're playing here. In order to show it, you press the Control key and the Enter key, and it will load as a .swf film. And at some point it will actually play. As you may have already noticed, we are on a bit of a lag today. So I'm hoping this is going to play at some point and not just sit here as a blank screen. If you're running at a slightly faster speed, you will actually see it. This has apparently decided it doesn't want to play at the moment. But rest assured, when you try it, given a bit of time, it will come up. I'm running out